The way to truly establish a cause and effect relationship is through a well-designed experiment. When an experiment can control potential confounding variables and show a significant difference in how the response is affected by the treatments, then we can say that the factor causes a response. For years, it's been suggested that eating fish lowers the incidence of heart disease. Suppose an experiment was conducted with 20,000 men between the ages of 45 and 60. They were randomly assigned to one of two treatments. Group 1 was instructed to follow a certain diet with prescribed parameters each week for 5 years, and Group 2 was instructed to follow the exact same diet with one major difference. They had to eat fish at least 2 times per week. The subjects were thoroughly analyzed before and after the experiment. At the end of the 5 years, of the 10,000 men in Group 1, 3,230 had some risk of heart disease, from cardiovascular disease to stroke or heart attack. Only 2,557 of the Group 2 men had some risk of heart disease. This is a significant difference. Such an experiment would establish that eating fish causes a lower risk of heart disease. Remember this, in an experiment, we impose the treatments on the subjects. We dictate who has the fish diet and who has the regular diet. Observational studies are not true experiments, and therefore it is challenging to establish cause and effect. Here is an example. Suppose instead of an experiment involving 20,000 men between the ages of 45 and 60, we just gave them a survey about their eating habits and also made an extensive physical examination of each man. And suppose it was determined that only 18% of men who chose to eat fish regularly were at risk of heart disease, compared to 44% of men who did not eat fish regularly. It would be tempting to conclude from such a study that there was a causal relationship between eating fish and heart disease, but this was not an experiment. It was only an observational study. We did not impose the fish diet on men. They chose to eat fish or not. Therefore, there are potential confounding variables that may explain all or part of the lower risk of heart disease. One variable is that men who choose to eat fish might simply be more health conscious in general and may make many healthy decisions that combine to lower the risk of heart disease. They may eat wisely, exercise regularly, and get ample sleep. So while we would suspect fish lowers the risk, we cannot conclude this. And here's how you should phrase it. Because we did not impose the treatment of eating fish regularly, this was merely an observational study and not an experiment. The only way to show a cause and effect relationship is through a well-designed experiment. Hence, we cannot conclude that eating fish reduces the risk of heart disease.